if this should take 7.5 minutes if I don't cry. And if I do cry, it could be anything, I don't know. First and foremost, thank you all so much for being here today. A special thanks to those of you who have had to travel far to attend. We had to pick between having the celebration here in California or in England, and we are very aware that many of you have had to spend a lot of money traveling hundreds, even thousands of miles to be here, and it really means a lot. To the slight majority of you who haven't had to spend a lot of money getting here today, don't be afraid to keep those savings in mind when making a donation to our honeymoon fund. We wouldn't hold it against you, that's all I'm saying. I have joked with Sohee for months that it would be cute for me to learn... He's back. He's back. Good. There are other doors, but we'll go with that one. That it would be cute for me to learn a few words in Korean to sprinkle into my speech. But I looked at the Korean alphabet, and I realized it wasn't going to be the easy task that I had hoped. So please forgive me for how much I will butcher this. 소희 씨 가족분들께 제가 정령을 표하기 위해서 한국어 수업을 몰래 들고 이제 드디어 한국어를 할 수 있게 되었습니다. 처음에 소희 씨와 연애를 시작했을 때 소희 씨가 한국 문화에서는 외국인을 사귀는 것을 안 좋게 볼 수 있다고 말해 주었습니다. 그래서 여러분들을 만나기 전에 저를 받아들이시지 않으실까 봐 정말 무서웠습니다. 그러나 제가 틀렸습니다. 여러분은 저를 따뜻한 마음으로 맞아주셨습니다. 여러분 덕분에 저희가 지금 여기까지 올 수 있었습니다. 저를 새로운 가족의 일원으로 맞아주셔서 감사하고 평생 그 누구보다 소희를 사랑하고 아껴줄 것을 여러분 앞에서 약속드립니다. 감사합니다.
Okay, so get this. We're diving into a story today, and it's a story with romance and dedication.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so imagine, like, you're planning your wedding speech, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you think to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you know what would really, like, make this special?
Yeah.
Learning a whole new language in secret.
Wow.
Sounds crazy, right?
That's a pretty big undertaking.
It's a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
And, well, that's what Ben Carpenter did for his wife, Sohee.
It's really remarkable the commitment that takes. I mean,
Well, yeah.
learning Korean to the point of giving a wedding speech that's not just like
Right.
picking up a few phrases, you know?
No.
You really got to dive in deep.
Yeah, we're not talking about a quick, like, weekend trip to Rosetta Stone here.
Right.
The sources say that he spent a full year,
Wow.
365 days, secretly learning Korean.
That's a long time to keep a secret.
He was sneaking in lessons, during work calls.
Really?
He was even using headphones strategically so he wouldn't hear him
Oh, wow.
when they were, like, in bed together.
That's dedication.
So this was like a full-blown
Yeah.
secret mission.
It really makes you think about the kind of discipline that must have taken.
Yeah,
I mean, learning a language is already hard enough,
right, totally.
but to do it all in secret,
Yeah.
maintain your normal routine, but then carve out the time to study.
Yeah, and the pressure.
I can't even imagine.
Think about it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Every conversation he has with Sohee, every time he sees her family, he's got this
Yeah.
huge secret.
That's a high-stakes wedding speech.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that kind of, cultural aspect really adds another dimension to this whole thing.
Oh, for sure.
So he even mentioned, one of the sources that dating a foreigner
Yeah.
isn't always like super accepted.
Right. Well, and that's an important point. I mean, in lots of cultures,
Yeah.
family is so important, and tradition really plays a big role in relationships. So,
Total.
Ben being an outsider,
Yeah.
he might have had some
skepticism.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So he was really learning Korean, not just to be like, oh, I love you in another language, but
Right.
like to be like,
Yeah.
I respect you and your culture and your family.
It's like he was trying to bridge the gap,
Yeah,
showing that he was willing to meet them halfway.
totally.
Language is more than just words.
Right.
It's a symbol of acceptance.
Mhm.
A real, tangible expression of his commitment to their future.
And in one of the sources, we actually got to see a snippet of the speech,
Oh, wow.
translated to English, of course.
Sure.
And he talks about like how at first
Yeah.
he was scared of not being accepted by her family.
Right.
But then he goes on and he expresses his gratitude for how they welcomed him.
That's really sweet.
It's a really touching moment.
It really shows a vulnerability that's, endearing and impactful.
And the way he delivered the speech,
I bet.
it wasn't just the words themselves. It was like
Yeah.
his tone, his inflection, the way he was looking at Sohee and her family.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't just speaking Korean. He was like
Yeah.
speaking from the heart.
And that's the power of language. I mean,
Totally.
even if they didn't get every single word,
Right.
they could feel the sincerity.
Oh, yeah.
It reminds us that communication, it's more than just,
Vocabulary.
vocabulary, grammar. Yeah,
It's about emotion and
Yeah.
trust
exactly.
and like forging those connections.
It goes beyond words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see Sohee tearing up and her parents are smiling. They're embracing him. You can't fake that kind of emotion.
No.
This wasn't just a wedding speech. It was like a love letter
Wow.
delivered in a whole new language.
That's beautiful.
It's really incredible what we'll do for love.
Yeah, it really is.
And this story didn't just stay at the recession. It kind of blew up online.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, tons of people commenting and reacting.
It's really interesting to see the different responses that his video got.
Oh, yeah.
It seemed to really touch on something universal.
Totally.
People talking about relationship expectations and, intercultural communication and all sorts of things.
Yeah, so many people were like, wow, that's true love.
Right?
Praising his commitment to Sohee and her family.
Yeah, I mean, it really speaks to our fascination with grand romantic gestures.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, people love a story where love conquers all.
Totally.
And this is a perfect example.
Yeah, but it also made people think, like,
Yeah.
what does it really mean to go above and beyond for your partner?
Right. Is learning a whole language the new standard?
Yeah.
Or are there smaller ways to show your love and respect?
Right, exactly. And especially for their culture.
Right.
Like, what can we be doing every day?
I think it really made people think about their own relationships.
Yeah.
And how they handle cultural differences.
Absolutely. And there were some funny comments, too. People joking about,
Oh, I bet.
now he can understand if his in-laws are talking about him.
Wow.
Or, comparing their Duolingo streaks to his, year-long
Yeah.
language marathon.
It's good to see that people can find the humor in it. Yeah, learning a language doesn't have to be all serious,
Yeah, right.
It can be fun.
You can be, yeah.
It can be mischievous.
Totally. But, it wasn't all perfect.
Oh, yeah.
There were some people who were kind of cynical.
I guess you can't please everyone.
Yeah, like, were they still together? Or even bringing up that stereotype of, like,
Oh,
marrying for a green card,
ugh. I hate that.
It's sad that even a nice story like this
Yeah.
attracts that negativity.
Unfortunately, that's how it is online sometimes,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to something that challenges, the norm.
Right.
People can be skeptical of interracial relationships
Mhm.
or just project their own biases.
Totally. But I think it's important to focus on, like,
Yeah.
the good stuff.
Yeah.
The positive reactions to their story.
Absolutely. The vast majority of the responses were positive.
Right.
People really appreciated what he did.
Yeah.
It's just a heartwarming story.
Absolutely. And, while we're talking about reactions, we should remember that Sohee is like a huge part of this.
Right.
She took a big leap of faith,
Yeah.
bringing Ben to meet her family, knowing that
Totally.
could be these cultural hurdles.
Yeah. Her role in this is really important.
Yeah.
She chose to share her life with him and her culture
Mm-hmm.
and, trusted his love and commitment.
Right on.
And she had to deal with the pressure of knowing that
Yeah.
her family's acceptance of Ben might depend on him
Exactly.
accepting their traditions.
And can you imagine those conversations leading up to the wedding? Like,
Yeah.
hey, what if your family hates me?
Exactly. Did they talk about potential clashes?
Totally.
Did Sohee tell Ben about her family's expectations?
I mean, it's a real testament to their communication.
Yeah.
That they could figure all that out.
It really highlights how important communication is, especially, in relationships where there's a cultural divide.
Yeah.
You got to talk about the hard stuff and find ways to make it work.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just about them as a couple. It was about both of their families coming together.
Exactly.
Building these bridges across cultures.
Creating like a new blended family.
Yeah. It's really beautiful.
It challenges the traditional idea of family.
Yeah.
Like family isn't just about blood.
Yeah.
It's about the people you choose to have in your life.
Exactly.
The bonds you create.
Yeah, it's really powerful stuff. So we've talked about all this stuff about Ben,
Yeah.
his dedication and the cultural parts and how people reacted online.
Right.
But what do we as listeners
take
away from all of this?
That's a great question.
It's a good story, but what's the point?
Well, I think there are a few things. Yeah. First, it shows how powerful, personalized learning can be.
Oh, okay.
Ben didn't just take a regular Korean class.
Right.
He fit it into his life.
Yeah.
Lessons on work calls using headphones.
His whole life was a language learning lab.
Exactly. And it wasn't just about the language itself. He was thinking about the culture.
Right.
How Sohee's family would see it.
Yeah.
It was a really thoughtful approach.
And that leads into the second takeaway.
Okay.
Understanding the culture.
Yeah.
He didn't just learn Korean randomly.
Right.
He thought about, what's normal in Korea?
Mm-hmm.
About Sohee's family maybe being worried.
Totally.
And what it means to be in a relationship with someone from another culture.
Yeah.
Language and culture are inseparable.
Totally. And my third takeaway is that Ben wasn't afraid to be vulnerable.
That's so true.
He said he was scared.
Yeah.
Unsure if they'd accept him by being open.
Yeah.
He connected with her family.
It wasn't an act.
Right. It was real.
Real emotions.
Yeah. And that's what everyone loved.
Totally. Both at the wedding and online.
Absolutely. And being vulnerable is so important, especially with different cultures.
Yeah. Admitting we don't know everything, being willing to learn.
It's not about getting rid of who you are.
It's about connecting.
Finding common ground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Ben's story shows us that we don't need huge gestures to show love.
It's the little things that add up.
Yeah, like learning about their culture.
Trying new foods.
Listening to them.
Yeah.
When they're talking about something that matters to them.
Showing up every day.
Yeah.
Big and small.
Absolutely. It's the little things that build a strong relationship.
Especially when there's cultural differences.
So Ben's story is great.
Yeah.
But we can all do this.
Absolutely.
Even without learning a new language.
Exactly.
So as we finish up this deep dive, I want you to think about this.
Okay.
What are the small things you can do to connect with people from other cultures?
Good question.
And show your love.
Right.
Maybe not as big as learning Korean,
yeah,
but just as meaningful.
That's a great point.
So keep learning, keep exploring.
Spreading the love.
And that's our deep dive.